Tonight, millions of Aussies counting down to a pay boost within days. The race to save a teenager mauled by a shark at a popular North Coast beach. A driver on the run after an alleged burnout leaves one man dead in the Hunter Valley. Angry flames engulf a unit complex on the mid-north coast, prompting a warning from fireys. A whale of a time on our seas, the special census drawing crowds to the coastline. And good injury news for the Blues.
This is NBN News with Jane Goldsmith.
Good evening. Millions of Australian workers are counting down to a pay boost this week as the minimum wage rise kicks in. While aiming to bolster frontline services, this increase is igniting debate, pitting living wages against business viability.
The countdown is on tonight for millions of Australian workers.
They are frontline services and they deserve a real wage increase.
Beginning this week, the minimum wage will rise from $24.10 an hour to $24.95. When converted to Australian dollars, that's above the minimum in New Zealand, Canada and the United States. Wage is above the minimum wage, while business groups worry that increases in pay without increased productivity will cost jobs and small businesses. The Treasurer insists productivity will be the priority this term of government, but there is another industrial relations fight on the horizon.
As a top priority, we plan to legislate penalty rates in awards to protect them from being eroded.
With the new Senate also coming in on July 1, those laws should pass the Parliament.
Charles Croucher, NBN News.
To breaking news just in, and a young man has suffered serious arm and hand injuries in a shark attack at Cabarita Beach between Byron Bay and Tweed Heads on the state's north coast. Fellow surfers applied tourniquets until paramedics arrived. The teenager has been airlifted to hospital. It's understood a second chopper is now searching the area for the shark. Overseas now, and a family of 5 sheltering in a designated safe zone in Gaza is among 81 people killed by airstrikes in the last day. Heavy bombardments raining down on the enclave, despite claims from the US president that a ceasefire could be only days away.
The victims of these strikes were in a tent camp in Al-Mawasi, an area along Gaza's coast that's supposed to be a designated safe zone. They dig through the sand trying to free the victims. Among those killed, all 5 members of the Abu Tima family. They were sleeping in their tents. What did they do to them? The 3 children's grandmother says. They're among dozens killed in the last 24 hours, including one of Hamas's founders. Heavy bombardments and fighting continues despite a ceasefire supposedly being only days away.
We think within the next week we're going to get a ceasefire.
In Tel Aviv, families of Israeli hostages joined crowds demanding their release. Dalia Horn's brother-in-law, Eitan, was alive as of February.
We hope, actually I want to say that I feel and I know that he's alive, and that very soon we're going to be hugging him again.
Crowds have been coming here every Saturday since the October 7th attacks, except for the last 2, because of the war with Iran. They're now back and with a renewed sense of optimism.
Ilan Dalal's son, Guy, was taken from the Nova Music Festival. He hopes he's one of 20 hostages believed to still be alive.
Make me feel really optimistic, because right now, after the war with Iran, after the war with Lebanon, now what's only left is Gaza.
Dalal Sayeb Irikat is a professor at the Arab American University Palestine and believes it all hinges on the United States' involvement.
Do you think now it really comes down to whether Donald Trump wants it to happen?
Well, if Trump says that, if Trump is serious, he can do it. He's capable of doing it. Do I believe it? I want to believe it.
Plans for a post-war Gaza being reported in Israel are contentious though.
This is what Trump needs to hear. Everybody needs to be included, including those with guns. Because if we continue to exclude any party, those who we will exclude will turn to be the spoilers of any sophisticated peace deal.
A ceasefire between Israel and Iran is no peace deal. Crowds chanting death to America and Israel at funerals for military officers and nuclear scientists killed in the war. In Israel, Edward Godfrey, NBN News.
A driver remains on the run tonight after a car doing burnouts allegedly left a man dead near Curry Curry in the Hunter Valley. Reporter Bianca Werrett joins us live from the newsroom now. Bianca, police say 2 other people were injured in the incident.
That's right, Jane. Officers allege 10 people had gathered on Halls Road at Stockrington, south of Curry Curry, when at around midnight a car allegedly performing burnouts hit 3 people. A 53-year-old man suffered critical head injuries and died at the scene, while 2 women were also struck. It's understood their injuries were minor and they left before paramedics arrived. Police say the same vehicle was later found dumped and burned out 20 minutes away at Chisholm.
At this stage, we encourage the driver of that motor vehicle to come forward to police and assist us with our inquiries.
Police are tonight appealing for anyone with information or dashcam footage to come forward.
OK, Bianca Werrett reporting there, thank you. A social housing unit went up in flames on the mid-north coast last night. Firefighters were called to the Bent Street home at Tuncurry shortly before 10 p.m. and used a ladder to rescue 2 residents in their 50s. However, one resident was forced to jump from the building before crews arrived and broke his hand. The cause of the blaze is still under investigation. Crews were called to another fire at nearby Foster shortly after. New data has revealed property prices are continuing to soar well above the $1 million mark in parts of the Hunter. It comes as Lake Macquarie Council focuses on improving affordability, announcing plans for a rollout of tiny homes in partnership with Allambie Care.
It's an unusually busy winter for Lake Macquarie real estate agents. The cooler months are traditionally slow on the sales front, but LJ Hooker's Callan O'Reilly says demand for property has remained high across the region.
There's buyers out there at every time of year, people looking to get into a property before Christmas.
But while the area is proving popular for buyers, supply is limited.
We're sort of back at like 2021, 2022 levels of stock at the moment, so it is very tight.
The fierce competition also contributing to skyrocketing property prices.
Definitely properties still selling over that $1 million mark, and we're seeing that market be built up by the people that are selling in that lower price bracket. When they're selling for $800,000, $900,000, they're stepping up in property and they're getting into that $1 million, $1.5 million price point.
It comes as new data from Ray White reveals the Hunter's top $1 million suburbs. Merriweather and the Junction taking the lead with a median price of just over $1.9 million. Newcastle Cooks Hill not far behind at just over $1.7 million. $1.2 million in Hamilton Broadmeadow. In Lake Macquarie, the median price in Redhead has soared to over $1.5 million. $1.2 million in Valentine Elibana. Swansea Caters Beach not far behind at $1.1 million. And with property prices and demand only set to increase, Lake Macquarie Council says it's set to trial a new tiny home affordable housing program aimed at relieving some pressure on the housing crisis.
2-bedroom homes for the tiny homes. The prefabricated ones at Maud Street and Belmont are going to be 3-bedroom, I believe.
If successful, it's hoped the initiative will be rolled out across other council land in the region. A full report will be released to the public tomorrow. Angie Davies, NBN News.
A rezoning determination has confirmed a parcel of bushland at Fletcher will remain largely protected for conservation purposes. The New South Wales Government going against a recommendation from the Independent Planning Commission and allowing just 3.6 hectares of the site at 505 Minmai Road to be developed. It will cater to around 40 houses compared to the 180 lots originally proposed.
He has been told. He has been refused 5 times over 23 years. So he should have worked out by now that this was more important than houses.
The landowner was contacted for comment. The first brushstrokes on a community-funded mural will soon begin at Cardiff. The large-scale artwork depicting missing Lake Macquarie teenager Gordana Katevsky will take shape from Monday, July 7. A 26-metre-long prominent wall was secured last year, coinciding with the 30th anniversary of her disappearance. Mural artist Ruben Bortwood will create the permanent tribute to the much-loved 16-year-old who went missing from Charlestown on November 1994. The community has raised $22,000 for the project. There were big engines and even bigger hearts at this year's Milbrodale Mountain Classic, the off-road racing community rallying behind one of their own, funding a brand new set of wheels for 7-year-old Matilda Gilkison.
She's cheeky, determined, and now she's got some pretty cool new wheels. Matilda Gilkison has overcome more challenges than most kids her age. At 18 months old, she was diagnosed with Angelman syndrome, a rare neurogenetic condition that affects fine motor skills.
It often gets misdiagnosed as cerebral palsy and autism, so they're non-verbal, they have seizures, some kids can't walk.
It affects 1 in every 20,000 births on average. Now 7, Matilda is powering forward, quite literally, thanks to a new therapy tricycle. Valued at around $8,000, it's designed to improve leg and core strength. The Gilkison family are passionate off-road racing fans, cheering from the sidelines at the Milbrodale Mountain Classic. Dad Luke is a long-standing member of the Hunter Valley Off-Road Racing Association, which donated the tricycle.
She absolutely loves it. She knows where it lives. She comes straight home from school and gets straight on it every day.
This year's Milbrodale Mountain Classic is shining a light on Angelman syndrome and raising money for Matilda's ongoing care.
We will use that to fund Matilda to be able to go back to the Napa Centre again, because it was so beneficial to her that we would really like her to be able to do it on a regular basis.
Now in its 39th year, the event has so far raised more than $30,000, with 62 competitors taking to the course. This week's Mountain Classic marks round 1 of the New South Wales series, attracting drivers from across the country to take part in short and long courses.
It's very special. Matilda's a very special little girl, and yeah, any funds raised today, it means a lot.
Bianca Wert, NBN News.
Mostly fine for the Hunter today, a different story this week. You're watching NBN News. Still ahead, the Minns government accused of being soft when it comes to the illegal tobacco market. Pope Leo calls for peace in Ukraine as the country continues to trade attacks with Russia. A wet and wild week ahead, northern New South Wales warned to brace for a powerful east coast low. Plus, the keen whale watchers helping monitor growing pods on their migration north.
Tripperdeal's hottest points offer is back. This June, earn 20,000 bonus Qantas points when you book a tour, cruise or exclusive hotel package. Hurry, offer ends June 30. Search Tripperdeal now.
Max your tax time with new government solar battery incentives that could save you over $6,500 on a 20 kilowatt hour home battery, or install the 6.6 kilowatt premium Sunboost solar system for just $37.91.
Call 1300 Sunboost.
What are you risking online? Don't leave yourself exposed. Install all software updates to keep your devices secure. Learn simple steps to protect yourself at actnowstaysecure.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
You haven't shopped around until you've tried Yui, huh?
Yeah, you should shop around if you're not happy with your car insurance. Or your barber.
For award-winning customer satisfaction, make the change to Yui. You insured.
Hearing Australia, Reader's Digest's most trusted hearing brand 4 years running, is offering free 15-minute hearing checks for adults and $0 fully subsidised hearing aids for eligible pensioners.
Hearing Australia.
It's the final weekend of the Amart end of financial year sale. Final days to save 20 to 60% off absolutely everything store-wide, including lounges, dining, bedroom furniture and more. Stores are open late tonight and this sale ends tomorrow, so hurry into Amart.
So, Robbo's dropping by later.
DeBricky.
Isn't he a mountain climber?
He's the real Iron Man.
He drives a BT50, right?
Yeah.
All great eras leave a legacy. In this golden age of peak chicken, that legacy is crumbs. McWings are here at Macca's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Hi, Sprinkle Club loyalty members? No? Well, for every $5.20 you spend, roughly, you earn around 30...
Keep it simple. Earn IGA cashback with new IGA rewards. Hey, Pete. I heard you missed Hyundai Prius.
Yeah.
Well, EFS is on now. Explore offers across a wide range of new and demonstrator models, like the compact Venue, the remarkable i30 sedan, the bold Kona, and the spacious Staria Load. Enjoy EFS at your participating Hyundai dealer today.
Chilling new vision has tonight emerged of what appears to be former reality TV star Tamika Chesser shortly before she allegedly set fire to her partner's remains. It comes as Chesser's sister speaks out for the first time, describing her recent behaviour as out of character.
Her dog in one hand and what looks like a jerry can in the other. Police claim this is Tamika Chesser, seemingly on a morning walk. But around 3 hours later, police say they uncovered her alleged sinister crimes.
It's my sister, but that's not who she is or the Tamika we know. That's not the Tamika anyone knows.
Watching from Queensland, her distraught family was shocked to learn of the allegations against Tamika. The former Beauty and the Geek contestant allegedly setting fire to her partner, Julian Story's remains inside their Port Lincoln unit, 2 days after she allegedly killed him and dismembered his body. Her sister says in the months before, she was concerned for her mental health.
It just started getting worse, and she started being in and out of mental health. If she didn't mention anything, and she just told everyone that she loves them.
Chesser remains in police custody at a mental health facility in Adelaide. Her family restricted from talking with her.
We can't have contact with her. She's still unresponsive at the moment.
Police still haven't been able to formally interview the 34-year-old as they continue their search for Gillian's missing remains in Port Lincoln. Today, police divers sifted through the shallows along the foreshore in a grim search for Gillian's head.
It is very sad, and I'm really sorry to Gillian's family.
Despite these extensive searches, Gillian's remains still haven't been found, but the search won't stop, with investigators determined to bring closure to his family. Keziah Sullivan, NBN News.
The state's opposition leader has lashed out at the Minns government, accusing the Premier of being soft when it comes to the illegal tobacco trade. Mark Speakman today announcing plans to introduce a new bill which would see the penalty for the sale of illicit tobacco increased to 7 years or a $1.5 million fine.
Some of our streets are starting to look like underbelly, and Chris Minns has opened the door.
No more light touch. If you're doing the wrong thing, you will be shut down, and if you continue to do the wrong thing, you could go to jail.
If passed, the new legislation will also give New South Wales Health the power to issue closure orders for businesses selling illicit tobacco for up to 1 month. Pope Leo XIV has called for peace in Ukraine, labelling the war with Russia senseless. As the countries continue to trade attacks, there's hope on the horizon, with the Kremlin agreeing to meet for negotiations.
The new Pope welcomes Ukrainian pilgrims at the Vatican.
Alle famiglie che piangono I propri cari.
I share your pain for the prisoners and victims of this senseless war. But as Pope Leo XIV told the faithful that life would triumph over death, earlier there'd been a deadly attack in the southern Ukrainian port city of Odessa. A Russian drone hitting a residential high-rise, killing a married couple and injuring more than a dozen other people. In Kyiv, on Ukraine's Constitution Day, President Volodymyr Zelensky spoke of his recent meeting with Donald Trump at the NATO summit. We agreed that the defence ministers would communicate, as well as the Secretary of State of the United States and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, he said. A sign the US might still be willing to help broker a peace deal between the warring countries. Russia and Ukraine have agreed to hold a third round of talks after a recent prisoner exchange, but no timeline has been set. Zelensky hoping the world doesn't forget his plight.
Послухайте, питання не в тому, чого хоче.
The question is not what Russia wants, the question is whether we can all stop them, change the point of view of the current leader of the Russian Federation. In the United States, Reid Butler, NBN News.
Music festival Glastonbury has always been political, but a performance aired live on television has drawn condemnation from the British government. Rap punk duo Bob Vylan calling for death to the Israeli military and leading the crowd in a pro-Palestinian chant.
Free, free! Free, free! Free, free!
Irish band Kneecap had their free-to-air broadcast shut down too after one member was charged with a terror offence for allegedly displaying a Hezbollah flag last year. He's denied the charge. Around 100,000 people have defied a government ban in Budapest, marching in a pride parade. The gathering was outlawed in March by the right-wing Hungarian government, with warnings of police intervention and heavy fines for participants. Additional cameras were installed before the march, and police are expected to use facial recognition to identify those who attended. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos has hosted one final bash to round off 3 days of celebrations for his wedding with Lauren Sanchez. Pajama party was the dress code, but as the celebrations once again took to the canals of Venice, it became clear some wanted to take a more glamorous approach. We know whale numbers just keep on growing from the many sightings we have on their annual cruise north from Antarctica along our east coast. And for more than 25 years now, a dedicated group of counters have trained their eyes on the horizon to tally the gentle giants. And the signs are good.
There may be heavy cross-town traffic heading to Port Botany, but it remains bumper to bumper on the Humpback Highway. With the whales heading north for the winter, it's an ideal time to tick off the numbers of what until a few years ago was a threatened species.
Back in the 90s, we were only seeing maybe 30 whales a day.
But today, 10 times that total were expected to cross at the observation point at Kurnell's Cape Solander.
There's been multiple pods of whales that have been going through. We got to see a mother and calf earlier with another escort.
From the Queensland to the Victorian border, volunteers were asked to pick a favourite headland and start looking out to sea for the count of spout.
Capturing information and getting to witness the beauty of these magnificent creatures.
And given that whales are internationally renowned for having terrible handwriting, the human help in the census collection yields more knowledge with each year.
If there was a sickness in the population, or even if there's different coloration and patterns.
And at the bluff of Cape Solander, it was as busy as the Humpback Highway itself. Observers oohing and ahhing with each flop of breach or flip of fluke.
Pretty much anywhere you look, you can spot a whale.
Are you surprised by how much action there is?
Believe it, there's so much.
I'm always surprised by nature.
I'm being distracted by whales behind you right now.
Some seemingly making up for generations past.
My husband's family were whalers in New Zealand.
So this is kind of the circle closing here to a certain degree.
It is.
Mike Dalton, NBN News.
As we go to air tonight, a rapidly intensifying low pressure system is tracking closer to Australia's east coast. The Weather Bureau says we'll see the first signs of it tomorrow, with New South Wales starting to feel the impacts. The winter storm may become our first east coast low in 3 years. And Lauren Kempe joins us now with a quick look at our weather. And Lauren, we're being told to prepare for some severe conditions.
We are, Jane. This system could be fairly significant as it continues to develop offshore. And look, there is a warning for gale force winds, dangerous, damaging surf and areas of flash flooding in eastern parts of the state. Low pressure troughs are colliding, and there's a high chance we could see our first official east coast low in years as a result, as just mentioned. Hundreds of millimetres of rain is forecast from the mid-north coast down to areas just south of Sydney around Tuesday in particular. The advice from authorities to monitor this system closely, particularly for those along the coast. We will see temperatures top the high teens in Tamworth tomorrow under partly cloudy skies and reaching tops of 19 degrees in Newcastle and 17 in Port Macquarie. Jane, I'll have some more details a bit later.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Lauren. Coming up next, a Dukes of Hazzard stunt becomes quite the work hazard for a cameraman. How an insulin pill could soon replace injections for those living with diabetes. A shock performance by John Travolta gives us chills, they're multiplying. And the special cause that fired up Fran for a record-breaking run from Perth to Sydney.
What's for dinner? Classic comfort food? Or switch it up? Make family favourites with all Coles finest sausages. Now just $7. With thousands of recipes online, what's for dinner? Coles.
Advance. It's a word shaping our way of life.
And coal, metals and minerals like those mined by Glencore help to make it possible.
Copper helps make ultrasounds possible, advancing health checks for growing families, even furry ones.
Experience iconic Northern Lights rail and sail from $10,999 per person, including flights. Explore Finnish Lapland, ride the iconic Flom Railway, cruise with Hurtigruten through Norway's fjords and more. Search Trip a Deal now.
At Officeworks, we won't be beaten on tax time prices. Get this HP Core i5 laptop for $697 or this Google TV streamer in 4K for $147. Claim everything you can at Officeworks.
For those living with early Alzheimer's disease, Suvinade is a drink proven to slow memory and cognitive decline by 60% when taken daily over 3 years. Hold on to what matters with Suvinade.
Head to Chemist Warehouse and save on big brands like Rosehip Vital 250 caps $42.99, Synovus Adult Chewable Triple Action tabs $14.49, and Go Healthy Fish Oil Triple Strength Odorless caps $29.99. Chemist Warehouse, great savings every day.
Well, here it is. Look at me. You've got this. It's now or never. Because now never gets easier, and there's nothing worse than never. Now.
So if you and one of your bros were more than bros,
I'm chill with that.
Make your dreams come true. Massive sale. Large carpets from $1,695. Hallway runners from $495. Expo, Lent Macquarie Square, Shopping Mall, Mount Hutton. Every day, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Harvey Norman half-yearly clearance ends Monday. Hot deal. Loafer 3-seater fabric sofa with 2 reclining actions, only $1,093. Save $160 on the Everdure Kiln gas pizza oven. Hot deal at just $798. Best prices guaranteed. Ends Monday at Harvey Norman.
It's big, it's bouncy, it's the Monster Jump, Australia's newest inflatable obstacle course. Jump, slide, bounce into the best family fun for kids, parents and parties. So hop online and book today at monsterjump.com.au and don't miss out.
There's so much included on a Disney cruise. Create a holiday that's filled with memories on board Disney Cruise Line. Sailing from Australia.
Book early and save up to 30% on select Australia sailings when you book with Hello World Travel.
It was the first country in Asia to legalise cannabis, and now Thailand is backtracking. The country's government introducing new rules to rein in recreational use, with customers now required to have a doctor's prescription to purchase the drug. Those pushing for regulation have cited a rise in smuggling, use by children, and complaints of tourists smoking in the streets. It was a stunt to recreate scenes from a classic American TV series, and it almost went to plan. A driver made his 30th attempt at a General Lee jump over a fountain in Kentucky, paying homage to similar stunts from the Dukes of Hazzard.
It started well enough. In front of a huge crowd in Somerset, Kentucky, a modern-day General Lee glides through a fountain of blue water. The landing, less graceful, slamming to the ground and skidding into a barrier, almost taking out a cameraman. The driver, Raymond Cohn, escaped unhurt. Here, speaking before the jump.
How are you feeling?
Nervous. Yeah, I'm a little nervous. On a distance jump, it's an obstacle jump.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm.
The Dukes of Hazzard was a highly popular American TV series from the late 70s and early 80s, featuring cousins Bo and Luke Duke, who try to outwit the corrupt local sheriff. Along with cousin Daisy Duke, the star of the show, a customised 1969 Dodge Charger, nicknamed the General Lee, which featured in countless stunts.
All right, Josh, better hunker down. You ain't gonna believe what's coming.
John Schneider, who played Bo Duke, there too, eager to see this stunt.
I want to break through the water.
Hit like right there.
Turns out hitting the water wasn't the problem, hitting the road was. For this General Lee, let's just say its stunt jumping days are over. Eddie Meyer, NBN News.
In major reforms to help renters from being misled, the New South Wales government will now force real estate agents to disclose when images of homes and units have been photoshopped to make a property more attractive. The new measures also limit what personal information can be collected from prospective buyers, such as relationship status or the number of tattoos a person has. Fines of up to almost $50,000 apply for those caught breaking the rules. A 2-minute test could save your life. That's the message from Kidney Health Australia, which is calling on Aussies to check if they're at risk of kidney disease. As many as 2.5 million adults are living with signs of the condition without knowing it. And a new online test can help people identify symptoms. Experts say early detection and action, not just awareness, could save thousands of lives. Fans of the movie Grease had chills last night, with Danny Zuko himself strutting out on stage. John Travolta donning a wig and reuniting with original cast members for a sing-along event at the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles.
I thought you were going back to Australia.
The last time Travolta reprised his role was with the late Dame Olivia Newton-John in 2019. A promising new alternative to insulin injections is just months away from trials. Australian innovators of the insulin pill receiving $1 million funding injection from the government to help take their discovery from lab to clinic.
They're the brains behind many years of research to create a pill that delivers insulin by mouth instead of using needles.
But we get to find out now if it really does work, and we couldn't be more excited to have that happen.
Nanotechnology, the key to its creation, shown to be safe and effective in animal studies. There are 3 layers: silver sulfide quantum dots helping the absorption of insulin, the polymer shell preventing its destruction by acids in the stomach.
So for us, the unique aspect about this technology is it's both a pill and a smart insulin. No one's taken it through to clinical trials with that combination before. A smart insulin can respond to the patient's own blood glucose levels. What it can do is turn on when the blood glucose is too high, and then turn off when your blood glucose gets too low.
The mission personal for team researcher Sophie Kang, who lives with type 1 diabetes.
It will just make things more simplified, and also it can also remove the stigma that people have.
Their work set to be rolled out in human trials with the help of a $1 million grant from the federal government.
We have a great history in Australia of medical research, but too often our discoveries are sent overseas.
It's one of 14 Australian startups receiving government support totalling $12 million to develop new medical devices and drugs, targeting cardiovascular disease and diabetes.
We know that those 2 areas are some of the biggest drivers of poor health and early death.
Human trials will start in the new year. Gabriella Rogers, NBN News.
A fabulous moment for Fran Herndell in Sydney this afternoon after an epic 3,800-kilometre charity run from Perth. She did it in 60 days, the fastest woman to do so, while raising more than $50,000 to support domestic violence survivors.
I'm looking forward to a good bath. And getting my feet looked at because they're in a pretty bad way.
Fran ran 100 kilometres in slides due to injury, lost 4 toenails and wore out 9 pairs of shoes. An amazing achievement. It's time for sport now with Adam Murray and some much needed good news for the Blues.
That's for sure. Good evening, Jane. It's all or nothing on Wednesday week in the Decider. Coming up, we're live to Blues camp with 2 troubled stars set to be given the all clear. Also ahead, the Sharks shown up by the Storm, but why coach Craig Fitzgibbon isn't writing off their season. Plus, the Hunters' Nick White gets a taste of the British and Irish Lions.
Rocky loves ice cream, almost as much as Rocky's owner loves saving. With his Westpac home loan package, he saved over $9,000 in interest in the first year alone. Rocky's owner is thinking that could come in handy. Rocky's thinking that could buy a lot of ice cream. Westpac home loan packages. Sweet savings.
You're important at work, but at home, you're irreplaceable. Stay safe from harm and harassment. Safe at work, there for them.
Domino's has mastered the art of sorcery with our new loaded saucy range. Spellbinding flavours on more loaded pizzas like mango and habanero chicken, the carnivore or atomic meats. It's pure sorcery from Domino's.
With Light and Easy, you're cooking less, eating better and getting great results.
With Light and Easy, I've lost 43 kilos. Troy's lost 53 kilos. It was great because you didn't have to do the work yourself. There was no meal prepping, no grocery shopping. You just grab and go.
Enjoy healthy and delicious award-winning meals delivered to your door. No shopping, no cooking, no stress.
Light and Easy is a great investment for health, happiness and a happy life. I feel absolutely amazing. I feel like a new person.
Live a healthier, better life with Light and Easy.
Today only, Tank World Super Sunday Sale. Save up to $500 off already discounted prices on selected water tanks from our best-selling range. No tricks, just unbeatable value. Today only, don't wait. Call before it's too late. Tank World, 1-800-68-69-70.
This is what pre-flight mornings look like around here. Doing the coffee run, not the M1. Finding yourself the perfect park. So go on, take your pick from over 250 flights a week from Newcastle Airport. Ah, that's the Newy way.
Join the adventures of your favourite Disney stars from Frozen, Moana, The Little Mermaid, and for the first time, Encanto. Disney on Ice returns to the Newcastle Entertainment Centre from July 3rd. Book now at Ticketek.
Harvey Norman half-yearly clearance ends Monday. Amazing value. Sleepmaker Smart Rest Deluxe Queen Mattress just $9.99 or the Celia Clay Mashbury Foam Queen Mattress only $14.99. Plus bonus standard local delivery on selected bedding purchases. Best prices guaranteed. Ends Monday at Harvey Norman. Go! Harvey Norman half-yearly clearance ends Monday. Save $250 on this Aussie-built Westinghouse oven. Save $520 on Dyson Gen 5 Detect Stick Vac. Save over $300 on the massive JBL Party Box Ultimate. Best prices guaranteed. Ends Monday at Harvey Norman. Go!
Tonight's code word is fans. Enter at nbnnews.com.au for your chance to win.
The Sharks have fallen out of the top 8, suffering their 4th loss in 5 games, 30 points to 6 to Melbourne. The scoreline didn't look pretty, but Cronulla coach Craig Fitzgibbon believes his side still has a reason to be happy.
A comprehensive loss, leaving the Sharks shattered. But in the wake of another defeat, Craig Fitzgibbon says things aren't as bad as they seem.
I don't want to sit here and applaud that sort of scoreline, but it was far better than what we dished up last week.
The Storm made a lightning start.
Quick ball, Katoa into a massive hole.
It looked like it'd be a long afternoon. Cronulla couldn't take its chances, tries went begging, but at half-time, they only trailed by 4.
As far as the defence and the scoreline, again, blows out, but I thought we actually improved quite a bit.
Discipline didn't help in the second half, neither did moments of brilliance like this.
Katoa's there, makes the catch, Gibson to Meany!
Back rower Eli Katoa flying high twice in the final 15 minutes.
Katoa's there again, and he beats Kennedy again! Hughes is there! It's the Eli Katoa show!
Taking the game away from the Sharks, Melbourne making the most of their late opportunities. Cronulla's attack just couldn't click.
Yeah, that's what hurts. Again, the scoreline looks like we just got dusted pretty hard. We can't hide from that, and we won't, but the things leading up to that I saw when nothing was going our way, that was the most pleasing part in a disappointing loss.
Fitzgibbon believes the loss can kickstart their season, but knows time is starting to run out.
I don't know how many rounds left, but we've got to smarten up pretty quickly, I think. Yep.
Sam Jordan, NBN News.
The Cowboys have snapped their run of 3 heavy defeats, holding off the fast-finishing Titans for a crucial 30-24 win. The Cowboys led 24-6 before the Gold Coast clawed its way back into the match. The Central Coast, Scott Drinkwater scoring twice to move North Queensland 1 win outside of the 8. Dragons co-captain Damien Cook has launched a passionate defence of Shane and Kyle Flanagan, saying critics of the pair need to back off. The Red V defied a huge injury toll to beat the Eels, the coach praising his team's courage.
A tough week for the Flanagan family, ending with an emotional win.
Oh, it's been unfair. It's been dead set unfair.
Back-to-back losses had Dragons detractors unloading on the father-son duo, Red V players firing up in defence of their coach and halfback.
But to actually bash them online, non-stop going at it, they can all have their opinion every week, whatever they got, but like online bullying is a different thing as well. So that's what we can't have, and we're not going to support it. So I was very happy to see Kyle cross the line tonight and just say he deserved that.
We're not saying for 1 second saying Kyle's the elite of elite, but even though he's my son, there's no kid tries harder than him.
Injuries left the Dragons with no fit players on the bench in the second half, but they held on for a 34-20 victory over the Eels.
Spirit and courage got us home.
They fought really hard, but I felt like we gave them everything they got tonight.
We'll get someone else up next week to do the job.
Luke Duffy, NBN News.
New South Wales has received a double boost ahead of the Origin decider, with 2 key figures set to pull on Sky Blue next Wednesday night. Zach Bailey joins us from the Blues Hotel. Zach, what's the latest?
Good evening, Adam. A welcome relief for coach Laurie Daly tonight, with Brian To'o cleared of a serious knee injury. The Panthers winger was sent for scans yesterday afternoon after our cameras captured him limping following Penrith's win over the Bulldogs on Thursday night. Those results were positive, so To'o will be named for Game 3 alongside his good mate and former Panthers teammate Jerome Luai, who is out of hospital after he missed the Tigers match against Manly with a nasty infection. Both of those players are expected to be on lighter training duties next week. We're also hearing Jacob Kiraz is the Blues' new 18th man instead of his Bulldogs teammate Matt Burton, while 21-year-old Dolphins halfback Isaiah Katoa. The official Blues lineup will be out later tonight before the players head into camp here at Homebush tomorrow.
Zach Bailey, thank you. The British and Irish Lions stumbled against Argentina, but they've certainly hit the ground running in Australia. Playing their first warm-up match of the tour, the Lions thrashed the Western Force 54-7, crossing for 8 tries in front of 46,000 fans in Perth.
I don't think that score reflected certainly the first 50 minutes. We probably left a couple of opportunities out there, but we got stuck right into them and had a real test match intensity about it.
The Hunters' Nick White was the lone try scorer for the Force. He'll now fly to Newcastle to join the Wallabies ahead of their test match against Fiji at McDonald Jones Stadium. Mighty Winks is still looming large over the racing industry 6 years after her retirement. Owners of the champion mare have decided her first son, a colt by leading stallion Snitzel, will be sold at next year's English yearling sale, where he's expected to attract interest from buyers around the world. Winks' first foal, a filly, was sold for a world record $10 million last year. After the break, Oscar Piastri left fuming after a qualifying mishap in Austria. And the Swifts drop down the Super Netball ladder.
The Snooze End of Financial Year sale has been extended for 1 week only. Save up to 50% off selected mattresses and up to 40% off selected bed frames. Hurry, sale must end Sunday.
What a little snooze can do.
Tim woke with a nasty cold. But that won't stop him making her the best costume ever. Because even though Tim has a cold, Tim shows up when it matters. When life needs you, you need Codral. Soldier on.
Hungry Jack's is bringing home the bacon. The OG Baconator. Flame-grilled Aussie beef. Sizzling bacon on bacon on bacon on more bacon. Oh, the Baconator range. The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
Something I'll tell you for sure. Not a lie, it's almost law. This Land Cruiser drives us home.
Toyota.
Experience the ultimate South American adventure from $9,999 per person, including flights. Explore the Amazon, witness the sunrise at Machu Picchu, to a vibrant Rio de Janeiro and more. Search Trip a Deal now.
Total Tools end of financial year flash sale on now. Must end June 30. Get up to $2,000 of bonus points to spend on more tools across the store. Total Tools, totally sorted.
Anaconda's epic Stocktake Payless sale is on now. Gear up for the great outdoors with unmissable deals, like up to 40% off tents by Coleman. Pay less so you can play more during Anaconda's Stocktake sale.
We can see more of the world than ever. With Bridgestone Tech Check, you see what needs repairing now and what can wait, so you can go with confidence. Bridgestone Select Tyre and Auto.
For those living with early Alzheimer's disease, Suvinade is a drink proven to slow memory and cognitive decline by 60% when taken daily over 3 years. Hold on to what matters with Suvinade.
Join the adventures of your favourite Disney stars from Frozen, Moana, The Little Mermaid, and for the first time, Encanto. Disney on Ice returns to the Newcastle Entertainment Centre from July 3rd. Book now at Ticketek.
There's so much included on a Disney cruise. Create a holiday that's filled with memories on board Disney Cruise Line. Sailing from Australia.
Book early and save up to 30% on select Australia sailings when you book with Hello World Travel.
The Snooze End of Financial Year sale has been extended for 1 week only. Save up to 50% off selected mattresses and up to 40% off selected bed frames. Hurry, sale must end Sunday.
What a little snooze can do.
This report brought to you by Harvey Norman. Half-yearly clearance on now. Best brands, best range, best prices. Guaranteed.
Oscar Piastri was furious at the Austrian Grand Prix after Pierre Gasly spun out late in qualifying, denying the Aussie the chance to challenge for pole position. Piastri will start from third in tonight's race, while his teammate and F1 title challenger Lando Norris begins from the front row of the grid. The Sydney Swifts have been knocked off the top of the Super Netball for the first time since the opening round, after going down to the Melbourne Mavericks by 4. The Giants' resurgence has taken another step, beating the Firebirds by 5 for their third win in 4 starts. Norths bounced back from last weekend's loss to West in emphatic style in round 10 of Newcastle Netball. Last year's grand finalists smashing Junction Stella yesterday, 71 goals to 32. In other results, B&C fended off the Tigers, Nova Thunder scored a big win over Waratah, and West won their 8th match in a row. Warners Bay stunned the ladder leaders in round 10 of the Black Diamond Cup yesterday afternoon, becoming the first side to defeat Newcastle City this season. Young Max Collins was instrumental in the Bulldogs' 81-65 victory, booting 5 majors at No. 1 Sports Ground. Around the grounds, Killarney Vale beat Maitland by 53 points. Nelson Bay had a tough road trip to Terrigal Avoca, and Cardiff scored another win at home. The Rosellas soared at home in their grudge match against arch-rival South this afternoon in Newcastle Rugby League, winning 36-14. Meanwhile, Wyong are the new ladder leaders after winning the Central Coast Derby. A battered and bruised Lakes United toppled the Northern Hawks, and the Butcher Boys staged a mighty comeback at home to complete round 11.
Starting their run to the finals, the Butcher Boys were met by a colony of Scorpions fresh off the bye. Macquarie's defensive line stood tall before a crossfield kick from Isaiah Olsen brought it undone. Ethan Cook pouncing on the loose ball. Peter Wilson got in the way of Travis May, but the back rower came away second best. Leighton Rose made an immediate impact off the bench for the home side, before May quickly levelled things up on the stroke of half-time. He returned full of confidence after the break, continuing to fool the Butcher Boys at the line. Isaac Briggs got an offload away to a flying Andy Sumner. The Scorpions quickly racing out to a 12-point lead. Central skipper took it upon himself to get his side back into the contest. His try inspiring an almighty response from the home side. Joey Morris burrowing over to level things up at 22 all with 10 minutes to go. A swinging arm proved the difference in the end between the two sides. Lockie O'Brien kicking a penalty goal to give his side a slim 2-point advantage, enough to record Central's third win in a row.
14 games in and Edgeworth is still yet to lose an NPL game this season, but it was far from a walk in the park against Valentine last night. The Eagles were held scoreless for more than 80 minutes before the floodgates opened, winning 2-0. This afternoon, Olympic and Broadmeadow were at loggerheads, the two sides coming together multiple times at Darling Street. In the end, it was Magic who collected all 3 points thanks to a 1-0 win, and the final siren has just sounded at Blacksmiths Oval, Azuri defeating the Bell Swans 2-1. And Maitland tasted victory only once this weekend in NBL 1 East, losing both matches in Bankstown this afternoon. Yesterday, the women's side fought hard but fell short to Inner West 78-73, before the Mustangs men stormed home late to record an 87-83 win, led by Christian Little with a double-double. It was a tough road trip to the Northern Beaches for the Newcastle Falcons. The women went down to the ladder leaders Manly 95-72 after being blown away in the first half, while the men surrendered their lead in the final quarter, coming down 88-81. And that is our look at sport.
Nice one. Thank you, Adam. As always, big rain totals on the way for the Hunter this week. Lauren Kempe's next with weather.
Tonight, family fun and big adventures on all new travel guides. Then, 60 Minutes. On Stan, stream the new season of Sullivan's Crossing.
How should I wash my dress?
You should use a delicate cold cycle. Remember to turn it inside out and don't put it in the dryer.
Oh, thank goodness I asked. You just saved date night.
This is what pre-flight mornings look like around here. Doing the coffee run, not the M1. Finding yourself the perfect park. So go on, take your pick from over 250 flights a week from Newcastle Airport. Ah, that's the Newy way.
I've got something I want to tell you. Yeah, I'm pregnant.
Meet the new Volvo EX90. For life. Volvo.
It's tax time at Officeworks, so claim everything you can. From stationery to tech and anything in between. Everything could be tax deductible. Shop before June 30.
Head to Chemist Warehouse and save on big brands like Athlete Fizz 10 Pain Relief Gel 70 gram, $13.69. Rexona Deodorant 230ml range, $6.24 each. And Little Swiss Prebiotic and Probiotic Gummies 100 pack, $33.99. Chemist Warehouse, great savings every day.
Attention Aldi shoppers, these aren't just low prices. It's a sale!
It's not a sale. Our prices are just this low every day.
Yes, it's an everyday sale!
I think there's a sale.
No, it's not an everyday sale. It's just our price.
It's not an everyday sale!
It's not an everyday sale. No, there's no sale. There's no sale.
Just low prices every day at Aldi. Good different.
When it comes to marketing your business, television is the ultimate influencer because with TV advertising, it's all about the big picture. 100% of the screen, 100% focused on your business. And with 9NBN, you can reach more people more often, and that means more customers. We'll work direct with you to create a professionally produced commercial and effective advertising campaign to target the right audience for bigger impact. Get results. Contact us at 9nbn.com.au.
A help company would get people back on their feet, make complicated stuff simple, and even try to predict the unpredictable. So that's what we're doing. NRMA Insurance, a help company.
It's almost hard to believe after the sunshine we had to close out a very calm weekend, but we could see today's conditions do a complete 180 by this time tomorrow. What's expected to be our first east coast low in years is developing just offshore, meaning we will see large surf and gale force winds along eastern New South Wales this week, as well as heavy rain, which is also set to hit the Sunshine State. Only light showers fell along the country's south coasts and east of the Divide in the last 24 hours. It was heavier in Western Tassie and in isolated pockets of northern Queensland, but hardly a drop fell elsewhere. A moisture feed is currently deepening just off Queensland and feeding off abnormally warm water in the Coral and Tasman seas. Two low-pressure air masses are set to collide tomorrow, forming into one pretty significant low by around Tuesday. Now, the exact positioning of systems like these are notoriously hard to pinpoint, but the worst weather should hit just south of its centre. Flash and riverine flooding are highly likely, with hundreds of millimetres of rain possible in a matter of hours between the mid-coast and Newcastle regions down to just south of Sydney. We can also expect dangerous coastal conditions, huge waves leading to coastal erosion potentially through to Thursday. The icy June run has lasted well into the end of the month in Brisbane, the city only topping 17 degrees tomorrow. Sydney is also in for a maximum of just 18 after a 10-degree start, and the country's capital will shiver through a low of just -5 before getting up to 13 degrees. Mostly calm conditions across the Hunter today, a few patches of sunshine as well, topping in 19 degrees at Nobby's Head, 18 at Maitland. Southwesterly winds picking up tomorrow afternoon in Newcastle, and we are in for a pretty blustery night before winds intensify further on Tuesday. Rain arriving tomorrow evening with heavy falls expected right across our region through to Tuesday. Single-digit overnight lows before reaching tops in the high teens right along our coast, and very similar temperatures in towns further west. Taking a look at coastal conditions for tomorrow, 1 metre sea with a 1.5 metre swell. Morning low tide around 6 a.m. with the high at midday, another low just before 6 p.m. Sun to rise at 6:55 and setting at 4:58. We have some seriously heavy rain forecast in Newcastle this Tuesday. Definitely worth preparing for areas of localised flash flooding. Rain easing after that, but still continuing through to Thursday. Lighter falls in Scone for the next 4 days, and it will remain chilly overnight, but the Central Coast is also set to cop the brunt of this system. Hopefully much calmer and sunnier conditions though returning later in the week. And checking out the surf across some of our local beaches today, it was mostly calm conditions in Nobby's for surfers to enjoy. We can expect these conditions to change significantly tomorrow. We have some very strong winds on the way. Jane?
Okay, Lauren, thank you. And that is the NBN News for this Sunday. Thanks for your company. Travel Guides is up next, and I'll see you for the late news. From all the team here, good night.